In this video, you're going to be taking a look at Sly Moore for the post-original Trilogy collection. Similar to Yaruo, who I reviewed previously, she's part of a small window of a line in between Saga and Revenge of the Sith, where we got some very unique and rare characters that probably would have never had an opportunity to be made otherwise. And Sly Moore is definitely one of those characters. If you don't know anything about her, she is an Umbaran. And I think she's probably the only Umbaran that Hasbro has actually ever made in action figure form. And she's Supreme Chancellor Palpatine's top aide. If you recall, seeing in the Phantom Menace, you had Chancellor Valorum, Mas Amenda, and then to his left you had Say Taria, which was Valorum's top aide, who I would really like to have an action figure of. I do recall reading in the comments for my Newt Gunray video, I was having a conversation with another guy about her character, and that I went to go see the Phantom Menace, the 25th anniversary re-release a month ago. And when I was watching the scene where they do the vote with no confidence, I thought I would really like an action figure of her. And it was also mentioned between us that her name was thrown around a couple times during the Legacy collection to have an action figure made of. Would really like to see one made of her, but at this point, it might not happen for being such an obscure character. So I might have to resort to making a custom at some point, but we'll see. But thankfully, we got Sly Moore years ago, and it's a really good action figure. Big fan of a lot of these obscure characters, and Sly Moore is a very interesting character if you read about her. So basically, she ends up replacing Say Taria by threatening her and telling her to disappear from public life, which she does. And then, of course, Sly Moore here becomes Palpatine's aide, and she stays pretty close to him and follows him all the way into the Imperial era, even. I'm not exactly sure what her ultimate fate was, if there is one made of her in the EU. I would not be surprised if there was. I would have to go back and read a little bit more about her character, but just from what I have read of her, very interesting. And she is force sensitive as well, so definitely a very useful aid for Palpatine, I guess. She can sense things that are going on among the other Jedi or the senators even that he may not be totally paying attention to. So very helpful. So for the action figure here, looks really nice. I've had this for about 4 years now, I think. Ended up getting her for a good price on eBay back around 2020. Probably paid a little less than $10. I think I only paid maybe 7 or 8. Pretty easy action figure to get a hold of if you want one. So head sculpt looks really good. Kind of reminds you of Saj Ventress a little bit. You can see she has that silhouette of, or the mix of blue and white within her skin tone there, like on the side of the temples, into the back of her head, and then around her eyes there. And the paint in her face is nicely applied as well. No smudges, nothing looks off. It's very nicely detailed, very neutral expression, which I think suits her personality. Not a character that lets other people know exactly what she's thinking or feeling. Then you have her robe here, which is a very elegant design. You can see she has her collar here. And then the detail in this is really nice. It almost looks like it's feathered or... not exactly sure how to describe the material here. It's very unique though. Not something you typically see. I think feathered is probably the best way I can describe it. Like it's a robe of feathers. And it is molded in plastic, which is perfectly fine. It does restrict her movement a little bit, but we never see Sly Moore outside of this robe anyway, and I'm pretty sure she only appears in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And she doesn't have any voice lines at all, one of those characters that just stands in the background. But if you really do want to take this off, it's very easy to do. You Just lift it over her head here. And it reveals a dress underneath, which is a very nice design as well. Kind of a very feminine stance where she has that hip thrust to her left. It's very neat. Sleeves are very long. Definitely looks like a character that'd be associated with Palpatine. She does have that collar here as well. Very nice detail around her neck there as well. You can see the collarbone there even. And then of course her feet. Looks like she's wearing boots. So for her articulation, she has a very nice ball joint ahead, as you can see. She has a very long neck, which gives her that extra mobility. Was it swivel shoulders? Yeah. Then, I think in a way, she kind of has a ball joint. It's a ball point at her elbows there, but mostly you can only get a little bit of up and down and side to side motion. It's not exactly a hinge, it's an actual ball point, as you can see, that's a very unique thing. Not something we often see on action figures. And nothing in the wrists, and nothing in the waist, and then nothing in the hips. Well, it's pretty much all for articulation. So was that 5 points? But that's why I'm saying if you have this robe on, it's kind of restricted in her arm articulation, but that's all right. And in terms of her accessories, besides her molded robe here, which is very nice, has the clasp here. She does have this pistol here, which I still have elastic band around her right hand here. And I think that's a unique blaster pistol. Not anything I've ever seen with any other action figure. And then, very typical for the time, display stand. I'm not sure if this is her stand, but I do recall it being a darker colored one, so it might be this one, or one very similar. You don't need a stand with her though, because her robe or her dress is flush with the ground and her feet, so she don't have a problem standing at all on her own. That's pretty much all I can tell you about Slide More here. Bring out some comparisons. We have Mos Amenda here from Revenge of the Sith, the unique tongue, and of course Chancellor Palpatine. And they all look really good together. It's basically the top three between the Chancellor and his closest aides. Very happy to have all three of these characters in my collection. And usually when I have these displayed, I'll have the various senators in the background here. They form that triangulation. You ever see that among, especially in the corporate world, where you have the top boss up front and then it just forms this pyramid going all the way down. He's got like his top two people and then their top two people, and then it just goes all the way down. It's a very nice display, very comical as well. But anyways, would I recommend Slide More for your collection? I totally would. Very interesting character. Like I said, I really want to sit down and actually read more about her. I know she's in various EU novels, and I don't think any video games that I'm aware of. But still, there's a lot of material about her out there. And I would like to see her predecessor, say, Taria, made at some point. And I think they would all look good together. At some point, I would like to get Chancellor Valorum, and then the Power of the Jedi, Mos Amenda, as well. And then, of course, we would just be missing Valorum's aide. And then we pretty much have a complete set for the movies between these two. For the Chancellorship, that is. Very nice action figure. Pretty easy to get a hold of. If you want her, you can probably get on eBay right now and find one for $10 or less even. Brand new or loose. So not bad at all. Very nice action figure. Happy she's in my collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.